Well, good Monday morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
Oh, we're going to recap a busy weekend in the sports world. We'll go over some college football. We'll go over some NFL, a tie game to wrap up Sunday's football. And, the baseball playoffs are all set and scheduled to start up tomorrow. We'll throw in our 2 cents on that and much more. You can call or text in anytime at 661-842-2000.
And Sparky's Mariners are just like my Phils. We get to sit and wait and watch all these people in the wild card knock each other out as we wait to see how the MLB playoffs get underway. And Dodger fans are kissing the ground right now saying, please, God, please let us get through this first round. Please don't allow us to let Dave Roberts throw in this god-awful relief pitching core we have and throw this entire year away like the Mets did. And we'll get to that, by the way, because, again, you can call me Nostradamus of baseball if you want to, but who called that the Mets were going to fall apart at the end of the year? Who called the Reds were going to be the ones to take that spot from them? This is why you got to listen to the Early Bird Special. I'm sorry. We try to give you guys the insight. We try to give you guys the stuff early, let you guys know what's going to happen. I know, you get it. It's just me. It's just a guy who used to write for a college newspaper. And what does he know about MLB? Clearly more than you think. But let's talk about the world of football. Should we start in college today? Because my God.
Probably. I had a rough college weekend.
Well, I'm sorry to your LSU Tigers, but like
and
I said,
my
my
Georgia
friend,
Bulldogs, they
know.
both choked it this weekend.
I know. And DeBoer, although taking the victory route, I guess, he's taking his victory lap over Georgia. Y'all ain't going to be in the top 10 for the rest of the year. I'm standing on business. Bama ain't that good. They're really not. I mean, they had a good game. Don't get me wrong. Beating Georgia is always a feat, but you ain't that good. And if it takes you to take on a top 10 team in the NCAA to actually see the best in the Alabama Crimson Tide, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. I'm sorry. And I also have to question this. I always hate the top 25 rankings, mostly in basketball. Football, they're usually pretty on par, actually. I for the vast majority of the time that I've watched college football, they've been pretty fair in terms of college football until the playoffs come around and who gets in and out. Then there's always discrepancy. But for them to knock out USC out of the top 25 after barely losing to the Illini by 2 points over the weekend, that is wild to me. And we're going to just assume and say that Arizona State is a better team than USC is right now. Really? Really? It's Arizona State. They beat TCU. You really think that allows them to jump over so many teams right now and get in there? And let's also talk about the elephant in the room. How the hell is Notre Dame still there? Notre Dame has lost 2 games in a row pretty handily, by the way, and somehow they're still in the top 25? That makes no dang sense to me. But the big game we got to talk about, Florida State getting update by Virginia to start out the whole weekend. We got our first major field rush of the year by the fans. Incredible field rush, by the way, because again, no one saw the Cavaliers winning this game, although they have now snuck into the top 25 because of this as well. And again, it's bringing up the question, should we allow this? Should this be a thing that fans should be allowed to do? Personally, I love it. I think it's part of college sports. You have to allow it. These kids are all excited. They're all there to watch their, fellow classmates and stuff do something amazing. And that's what kind of brings the magic of college sports to me, is the ability for the fans to get into it as well. I mean, we talked about it last week when we talked about the whiteout game with Penn State and Oregon, which we'll get to as well, because that was a fantastic game. And Penn State was handed their first loss on a whiteout game in quite some time. But should we really allow fans to rush the field after these big upset wins, especially seeing pictures of, God, I wish I could say the actual word I want to say, but idiots from Virginia running up on starting quarterbacks, flipping him off, clearly taunting him, saying, you suck, you suck, you suck. Look, I've said it a million times. Fandom is fandom, but y'all need to get out of your own way. I heard it from Dave Portnoy and a lot of other people over the weekend. if you are a fan that goes up and taunts anybody on the opposite team after your team just won, you deserve to get knocked out. You really do. I don't want to hear you say, oh, the player pushed me. Oh, my arm hurts. No, shut up. You're the worst of the worst. You really are. But let's hear from somebody much smarter than I. Let's hear from Emmett Golden on this entire thing, because to be honest with you, it's starting to get to the point where we might see field storming go away because of stuff like this. But let's hear from Golden real quick.
Maybe you could threaten, and again, all week long, any student that rushes the field will be kicked out of school. Which is obviously somewhat of an empty.
Okay, so
threat.
20,000 kids rush the field, and they all get kicked out of school.
No, not that, because you can't. But you couldn't kick all of them, but you could kick some of them out. And as a parent of a young man that is in college, you know how furious I would be if my son got kicked out of school because he rushed on the field. That might at least make some people think about it.
I see what he wants to establish, but personally, it's impossible. It's impossible. There's no way.
Which means the only logical thing, which sucks for fans, is they're going to have to stop. They're going to have to put a stop to it.
You can't do it anymore.
Just because some idiots can't act right.
Exactly. And I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Because to be honest, like, I said my piece. The guy who walked up to the Florida State quarterback, flipping him off with his camera out, clearly taunting him, trying to get something out of it. Because you're not doing that on a camera just because you want to gloat.
You wouldn't be
not in
recording
today's society,
right?
You're doing that potentially hoping he swings on you.
Get a clip.
Exactly. You get a clip out of it. You ruin this kid's life, get some money out of it for yourself, and you don't have to go to college anymore.
It's good. It takes the fun out of it.
Exactly.
Just because one dumbass is going to ruin it for everybody, just like it always happens.
And it's not just one. Let's be
fair. Yeah.
But I mean,
it's going to take that one to either get really seriously injured,
for somebody to do something,
and then they're going to have to, as 100%. as a university, going to have to put their foot down because of one or two or 20,000 jackasses.
Yeah. And I mean, again, we've seen some incredible field storming, some memorable moments, kids taking down field goal posts and all that type of stuff. And traditionally we look at it and it's like, okay, it's harmless fun. It's just a celebratory thing. The players never get hurt, or people don't normally get hurt. But I mean, it does it does get excessive after a while. I mean, let's take it into pro sports. As a Philadelphia Phillies fan, I know how crazy Philly fans can get. It's so crazy that during the Super Bowl, when the Eagles were in it, they had to wax the flagpoles and they had to wax all the light poles because they knew people were going to be storming the streets if Philly won. And they knew these guys would be climbing on everything, breaking stuff. That's where we have to draw the line. Why is this turning into a riot? That doesn't make sense. You guys need to get control of yourselves. I get how exciting it is for a big upset to happen, especially for a school like Virginia. But the taunting, the excessiveness of it all, let's just dial it back. And like they said, there's no way for you to kick out every student that storms the field, especially since there's going to be a group of people who are idiots that don't go to that college and are just going to do it anyway, because what are you going to do to them? You threaten kicking them out of a school they don't go to? Okay.
Ban me from a game. I was lucky to be at this one.
Exactly. Oh, well, woo. Your ticket prices are so damn high, I'm not coming to another game again anyway. Right. So, like, there's really no way to punish people for doing this. But we've got to at least be able to, like, dial it back. But again, I've been preaching this for
I just
years.
think it's one of those things they can't control unless it's either you can let them do it or you don't.
Or you just don't.
Because there's no middle ground. You can't just suspend 20,000 people and half of them don't go to the school, or, you try to arrest one. Mm-hmm. You don't even have the jail space to arrest all of them. Mm-hmm. So you have to do something. And I think that's the only logical thing they can actually do.
And honestly, we've already talked about it in the world of college basketball. So why wouldn't they do it to college football? College basketball, especially after last year when the players got ran into and some players got hurt. Granted, I mean, it was Duke, and the guy who got hurt, it was kind of ticky-tack. I highly doubt he was actually injured that bad. But still, much like what we saw with the Virginia Cavaliers, I can't seem to find a positive solution to at least force people to dial back the emotion. And unless you're going to threaten to kick these guys out of school, which you can't do, You really can't. Like, unless you're going to have a camera out there and literally get everybody's faces, there is no way you can figure out who all goes to this school, who needs to be kicked out, call them all into the dean's office on Monday and say, every single one of you are kicked out of this school because you stormed the field. 20,000 kids get kicked out of the school at the same time. That's all of their tuitions at the same time. And you don't think all these people that run this school aren't going to be pissed?
Yeah, now you're taking money out of our pocket.
Exactly. So it's a physical impossibility. Ain't no way you were going to be able to pull that off. But I'm just happy that we got to see some crazy upsets over the weekend. We'll get to a lot of them after the break as well, including, unfortunately, Sparky's, Georgia Bulldogs, and LSU Tigers both taking an L. I just, again, my
It was
Trojans
just a
took
crazy
an L.
week of
It was a
football.
fantastic weekend of football. And I have to also point this out, too, because we don't got a lot of time, and this topic kind of came up during the pregame before I got to watch USC and the Illini. But Iowa fans, Hawkeyes, what happened to the Giant Killer? Where did they go? Because I didn't know this stat until Saturday. I really didn't chime in my head until I saw it. But Iowa is now, after Saturday, 0-11 against 10 or against top tier teams, against ranked opponents in the last 5 years. 0-11. And we're talking about a team in Iowa that used to be known as the Giant Killer, the one that would go in, or you would go to Iowa and it'd be hard to pull off a win no matter if you were the number 1 ranked team in the nation or unranked. It didn't matter. I'm just like, I don't know where that team went at all. But watching their game over the weekend, losing again 20-15, I mean, what I can't wrap my head around it. I really can't. It sucks to see because I personally I have a soft spot for the Hawkeyes. I really do, just because of that moniker of being the Giant Killer. Everybody loves a Giant Killer in college ball. But I mean, have you noticed that as well? It's not the same fear anymore coming or like go towards the Hawkeyes. It really isn't. It's a weird state. And honestly, going 0-11 against ranked opponents, I think it's going to be a long time coming before you guys can turn this around, no matter how many games your head coach has won. And he may be the most winningest coach in that conference. But they may, after this year, sit there and say, you know what? Much like Rod Barnes, as much as we love you, big guy, and as much as you've done for this community and this team, maybe the game has just kind of evolved. Maybe we need to start looking in other directions, as weird as that is to say. And that being said, we had another coach get fired over the weekend. And I'll get to that on the other side of the break because Arkansas said no mo. After getting blown out by Notre Dame, the Razorbacks said, Spillman, get your butt out of this locker room. We're pulling in Bobby Petrino, which I will get to after the break, why I can't stand this man. But it is what it is. And there's plenty more to talk about, including the Illini's win over the USC Trojans in their orange out game, because apparently they couldn't let Penn State have anything. But we'll take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Mushroom people. Did I ever tell you I grew up with this poster right at, like, not above my bed, but like at the foot of my bed?
The hand?
Huh?
The hand?
Yeah. All the mushroom people underneath with them on the elephant. God, I miss that poster. I don't know what happened to that. I think
It's a great album.
It was a fantastic. Marky got to do something over the weekend too. He got to knock something off his bucket list. We'll get to at some point during the show. How was the Comedy Store?
It was awesome.
Fantastic. Who'd you get to see?
Man, I got to see a bunch of them. There was 8 or 9 comedians.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
but I
Anybody of name relevance though? Wasn't Costello on the line? On the lineup? Didn't I see that in your picture?
I'm not sure. There was 8 or 9, but I would say 8 out of the 9 were killer.
Uh-oh.
And a lot of them are
There's always
just
one.
upgoing. Yeah, there was always the weird, strange dude, and he played the role perfect. He came out in a blue suede suit, and yeah. But a big shout out
Andre
to our
Gonzalez?
boy Dan Betts for the hookup because it was packed. It was a jam-packed show,
Well,
and he put us right in the front center, first
Very
row.
cool.
So yeah.
Did you get actually interacted with? I know I said we were going to talk about this later, but now I'm too interested.
I mean, they are really strict on heckling. So,
Yeah.
like, even if you do talk to the comedians, it's only when asked about or asked to.
Right.
But no, it wasn't bad. I had the one token black guy sitting next to me that was on mushrooms,
Oh, no.
and he had mentioned in the beginning, so he was the target.
Oh, of course.
So he was the guy that got picked on the whole show. So,
well, I mean, could be worse. Could have been you, but
yes.
at the same time.
But it was definitely super cool. The
Fantastic.
atmosphere is just awesome. So yeah, it was great to get off for a weekend and run out to LA.
Next time we go down there, I'm going to have to actually go with you so we can get some content and actually record. Well, no, they don't allow you to record in there.
No,
do they?
and they made it.
Oh,
There was
dang
2
it.
things. One was, everyone knows about the Joe Rogan at the Comedy Store and calling out Mencia.
Yeah.
And the first comedian brought it up as they said that Rogan, you won't see Rogan here.
No.
Rogan's banned. And he said it's not banned because of Mencia. He's banned because you cannot have your video recorder or your phone, so they have you put in those little yonder bags.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It's probably a little bit of both.
Probably.
It's probably the shots at Carlos didn't help.
They did drag a guy out because he had his smartwatch on.
Really?
Yeah, they said, dude, we told you in the beginning, because they give you like a little 2-3 minute talk when you're in line.
No, that does make sense because you can record audio on that smartwatch.
So they took him out. And then the second one is they took some shots at Seinfeld, which
really
I had no idea. I was 8 or 9 years old when this happened, but I didn't know he dated a high school kid.
Oh,
so I guess he was dating like a 16 or 17-year-old back in the late 90s.
Completely unaware.
So there was I was like, what is this guy talking about? But I looked it up. I took a walk down to Mel's Diner afterwards and had some. It was my cheat day, so I had a burger, but and just it was just a cool atmosphere. Like everyone is real kickback. And I did run into the co-host from the Conan O'Brien show.
Oh, did you really?
Andy, I think his name is. He was kicked back, but he said that he hates when people just run up to him. Hey, you're that guy from Conan. He said, I did like 50 other things.
Yeah, I'd hate to be that guy. Like, because don't get me wrong, it's like who's Kimmel's right-hand guy that everybody loves, but he's really only there to be comedic.
And that's the guy,
the big Hispanic dude. Guillermo.
Guillermo, yes. He's awesome.
And I'm sure Guillermo gets the same thing, but I mean, Andy has done a ton in the world of comedy. It's like, you should at least know his comedy. And I feel that, though, because it's like when you're well known for one thing, that's got to get annoying.
Well, he said people always,
like, oh my God, I love you from that.
He gets stopped. He said once a day at least that they mix him up with the guy that does the karaoke videos with people singing in their car. That's some big YouTube thing. And he said, dude, I'm not even close to that guy.
He's a talk show host, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
So first of all, I'm not English, and second of all, I don't sing. So, but yeah, it was
fun. All white people look the same.
The weather was perfect. It was in the late or high 60s when the sun went down. It was kicked back.
Absolutely. It was
Enjoyed it.
fantastic. I'm happy we are finally getting fall weather.
Yes.
Hey, we are finally getting fall weather, and I cannot.
How was the
wait
fair?
for this. It was fantastic, actually. I got to go to the fair on Saturday for the first time this year. I've been so gosh dang busy with everything, but I did get to try the Uncrustable burger, which was bomb.
You liked it?
Oh my god. But my only gripe against it is my fingers and hands were sticky as hell, because obviously it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich as for the bun. For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, I'm sorry. I should set the table much better than this. Kern County Fair this year, one of the biggest new food options, which we get about 1 or 2 a year, roughly, of just these new guys trying something new. And for some reason this year, everybody, and I've been noticing this, but everybody's trying to do the peanut butter and jelly burger. Everybody's really trying their own thing. Nobody can be Bakersfield Pizza and have the peanut butter and jelly wings, which are fantastic as well. Go try them out. But this was essentially a bacon cheeseburger, which was a pretty good sized burger, by the way. It was a pretty big patty.
Pretty big.
Put in between 2 Uncrustables, which if you don't know what Uncrustable is, who the hell? What world do you live in? An Uncrustable is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that the crusts have been cut off, for lack of a better term. But it is 2 Uncrustable sandwiches as the bun with the burger in the middle. No ketchup, no mustard, no crazy stuff like that. Unless you want to put it on there yourself, which, what are you doing? But it was fantastic. It was awesome. Like, I took a bite of it and immediately looked at my roommate and said, "Oh my God, I have my new favorite fair food. Like, I hope this comes back next year." It probably won't.
Make that at home.
I know, I really could. It probably won't be back next year because for some reason the fair always has these really, really cool ideas and these really cool food options, and then the next year it's gone. Even though everybody ate it up that year before, I'm still mad they haven't brought back the deep fried Kool-Aid.
Deep fried Kool-Aid.
Deep fried Kool-Aid, yes.
No, I've never tried that.
So basically what a deep fried Kool-Aid is they take a donut hole, they soak it in Kool-Aid, and then they deep fry it. And then they put powdered sugar on top with a little bit of strawberry jam as well, or whatever, jelly or whatever. Oh, 110%. I'm not sitting here saying that. But this was back when I was in high school. So this was like
a couple years ago,
10 years ago. But actually, it's more than 10 years ago. Oh my God, 16 years ago. Holy hell. Sorry. But yeah, no, it was fantastic. The fair is always fun. I'm kind of tired though, because after I went, I saw a lot of TikTok videos of people here locally calling it ghetto and saying that the fair is ghetto.
Not any ghetto than it's always been.
It's exactly. It's like, you just clearly weren't paying attention when we were kids, dude. It's been the exact same thing every single year. I had somebody tell me there was a shooting there this year, and I was like, no.
I talked to a sergeant, and he said it wasn't as bad as people were saying, but he said there was a lot of stabbings this year.
Oh, good God.
He said there was multiple that first weekend, and that he said it's almost been
like,
daily.
I missed those because I didn't. Maybe our media just didn't want to cover it, which probably is fair.
It's just like people can't handle their alcohol.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can't handle your alcohol, don't go to the fair and drink.
If you can't handle your own beef, like, let's be honest, leave the alcohol out of it. It has nothing to do with alcohol. It's the fact that if you two saw each other on site, this would have happened anyway.
Well, during the Sugar Ray show, there was 3 people dragged because they were
too
obscene and throwing up. But I mean, I usually skip the fair. And this year, I will say I had a positive vibe with it. Dude.
I'm just saying, I did too. I do every year I go.
But I'm one of those guys that I don't really have beef since elementary school. So like, if I'm going to have fun, and I enjoyed myself. And the food, dude, we had I'll go back to food. Chicken kebabs.
Ooh.
There's a kebab area over by the Bud Pavilion.
Oh no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
These aren't regular sized.
Some lady walked in front of me with it, and I said, "What the hell is that?"
Dude, it was the chicken, just a squared chicken was like
this. It's a solid
huge,
size.
dude. I was like, damn, dude, I'm gonna have to take this home.
Kern County Fair, the fair in general. Let's just be fair. I mean, any food item you're gonna get there is gonna be exaggerated. It's gonna be huge. But I have to agree with Sparky. This is probably the biggest damn kebab I've ever seen in my life, and it's not just the chicken. If you're a veggie fan, the pieces of bell pepper and onion,
10 different flavors too.
God,
like,
again,
where's that?
That's the only reason I go to the fair anymore.
Is the food?
I don't get on the rides. I don't do the game. Well, like if I'm there with somebody, obviously I'll do a game if she wants a teddy bear or something like that, obviously. But Like, I don't really go for the stores, the shops, or anything like that. Although I do love to go inside and look at what you got. I probably won't buy anything because most of you are a little overpriced, just a little bit. But this fair itself, I've always had a positive view of it. I've always had a positive just experience while there. I've never been there, I guess, when one of these stabbings or shootings happen. Unless I'm just oblivious and walk right by it, which, to be honest with you, could potentially be the case. There's so many people there that you really don't know what's going on everywhere around you. My only issue is, my God, people, and I don't say this just for Bakersfield people, everybody listening to me, you need to hear this as well. If you're walking in a high volume place, like a lot of people around you, a lot of people moving, kind of like the mall where everybody looks like cars where they're going in 2 lanes. And if you're that guy that stands still in the middle of that lane, I'm going to hit you. Keep moving or move to the side. Get out of the way if you're going to stop. I cannot stand when we're on a good pace. Everybody's just walking amongst each other. We're like, okay, cool. We're talking, having a good time. And I run into the guy in front of me because you decided to stop out of nowhere. Come on.
I mean, that's everywhere too.
I know, but it's
that
just at
bugs
this
the hell out of
point,
me.
it
Not
is what
only
it
there,
is.
not at the fair. We saw that too. Is like there's one way going this way and one way going that way. It's
Right.
not that difficult.
Right.
And I
Treat it like the mall.
I have the
Just
same
move.
problem we had the grocery store last night and it was the same thing.
Mhm.
I'm like, get out of the way. And going down the Grapevine, everyone gets into the fast lane and brakes. I'm like, dude,
You know
you
what's
don't have
funny
to
me?
break down.
The other video I saw that was local here on TikTok, I believe it was during one of our first Fridays here downtown because it was right outside of Guthrie's Alley Cat. And I know that because I'm down that alley every time I'm downtown. But it's somebody just pulling people aside. They're around my age, maybe younger, but they're asking them what you dislike about Bakersfield. Most of them say, oh, the heat sucks, blah, 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 the weather. Understandably so. But you know how many of those kids said the drivers here suck?
That's the first thing I would have said.
And you know what's funny?
It's usually
The
them.
more people I hear saying the drivers here suck, the more I'm sitting here thinking, you're probably the one that sucks, dude. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but if everybody is saying that the drivers suck, the finger's got to come back to you at some point too, because that means you, as well as a driver, must suck. Because there ain't no way in hell you're the only one in Bakersfield that doesn't drive right. Like, come on. You're the only one in Bakersfield that drives correctly. That's a ridiculous thought process. But again, all of these videos coming out from the fair, I hope everybody enjoyed your time there if you got to go out. And if you won tickets from us here on the Early Bird Special, we hope you enjoyed your time specifically because we give you guys those tickets to do exactly that. Go enjoy yourself. Go see what Bakersfield has to offer. Or, if we have any shows or anything outside that we're going to hook you guys up with as well. But I enjoyed my time there. I'm glad to hear Sparky enjoyed his time there, even though he doesn't go as often as a lot of other people. But that is a positive sign to me because if he enjoyed it and he doesn't go, and honestly, why did you stop going? Just tell people right now, why'd you stop going?
I had no reason to.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
Your son wasn't a fan?
I would take my son, but I would usually do it in the afternoon.
Yeah,
when no one was there. And it was usually like the first week.
Yeah.
When it's kind of okay, everyone's going to the adult side or whatever.
I made the mistake of waiting until the last Saturday thinking no one was going to be there.
That's what I was going to ask. I was like, my son went Saturday with his.
It was. When I tell you, the line to get in for those of you who are going off of Brundage, if I'm not mistaken, the main entrance, backed up all the way to South H when I was going at 7:00. I saw that, said no. I went around, went Bell Terrace way because apparently no one knows about that entrance.
Yeah, I go through the back off it. Was it Union or Chester?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is.
Pull out the back. I was like,
yep.
Okay.
Super simple. You park right there on the opposite side where no one else is anyway.
What that means that the fair's over, not only do we get better weather, but that means Bakersfield Brunch Fest
right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
October 11th. And I'm going to tell you right now, we will have your tickets again on this show at some point. So you're going to want to listen and call in. And I'm telling you, I've told you this when we gave them away earlier. If you're looking for something to do with your significant other and you are one of those guys who doesn't necessarily buy flowers all the time or really treat them like you don't spoil because maybe that's just something that you don't do or you don't think she cares about that. Trust me, she's going to love you if you get these tickets. So listen out right here on the Early Bird Special. We'll be able to give those away probably here in the next couple weeks. We don't have any for you today, so don't call or text. But When we do, you'll be the first ones to know. You guys will be able to win a couple pairs of tickets from us right here on the Early Bird Special. Let's take a break real quick. Sorry, I know I told you guys we get into Arkansas head coach. We will, I promise, because I personally, as a Falcons fan, cannot stand Bobby Petrino. Can't do it. And I'll explain why after the break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video online every single day from 7 to 9. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can find us at the Early Bird Special. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. We're all over the place. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff. Let's get into this real quick and wrap up our thoughts on college football. The weekend. Bobby Petrino, the new head coach out there in University of Arkansas. Not his first time with the University of Arkansas Razorbacks as the head coach, as he unceremoniously left the Atlanta Falcons in 2007, middle of the season, 13 games in on December 11th, 2007. Yes, I still remember the day when Bobby Petrino took upon himself after Atlanta lost pretty handily and after Michael Vick had just pled guilty to dogfighting and the team was at its all-out lowest. The head coach up and left after promising Arthur Blank he wouldn't leave. You understand why I don't like this guy now?
Same reason I don't like Saban.
You walked out. You walked out on a team at their lowest point. You were the head coach, someone they trusted. You told the owner, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I know the University of Arkansas wants me to go, but I'm not going. I'm a pro coach. I'm here. I'm here for Atlanta. Whether Mike's here or not, I'm here. I'm going to help you guys. Mike pleads guilty. This guy runs like a bat out of hell with a big old streak of yellow going down his back and brown on the bottom half of it. And then goes to the University of Arkansas. Luckily for the University of Arkansas, he turned them, or probably gave them the most success they've had in that entire run, and still to this day, because they haven't looked the same since Petrino has been the head coach. He leaves again, goes to many other colleges, Western Kentucky, blah, 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 Western Mississippi, it doesn't matter. Gets brought back as offensive coordinator here the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, with the University of Arkansas. But Arkansas, after getting blown out 56-13 to Notre Dame over the weekend and losing their third straight game, the Razorbacks have made the incredible decision to move on from head coach Spillman. And at this point, not really shocked because they haven't been successful. As I said, they haven't really had that success that Petrino gave them back in 2011 when I believe they won the Cotton Bowl that year, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. Again, because of the way I feel about this man, hope Arkansas loses every single game for the rest of the year. I really do. And that has nothing to do with the University of Arkansas, the players on the team. I'm sure they're all fantastic individuals and fantastic athletes. And I hope nothing for the best for all of those guys. But Bobby Petrino, you can suck it. I don't care. I hope every team goes out there and blows you out by 50. I hate the thought of this dude being head coach again. I really do. And I say that as if he hasn't been a head coach in the last decade. He has. He's been a head coach for 14 seasons of his coaching career. But no. When I immediately heard that they were cutting loose of their head coach, I said, "Ooh, that sucks." And then I saw Petrino to take over. I'm like, that better not be the same one. And immediately when I looked at it and saw Bobby, I said, "Oh, I'm out." University of Arkansas just made themselves a huge hater because no, I can't do it. I just can't. I feel for the Razorbacks. I do. 3 straight losses in a conference where you really can't take 1 or 2 and still be expected to be a contender. But putting Bobby in that seat, I mean, again, me getting my bias out of the way, Bobby has led this Razorback offense to one of the most successful offenses they've seen last year. They were able to at least get close to record-setting numbers. They didn't break any records, but they were close. They were up there on their own record books. So when you're looking at it from an athletic director standpoint or athletics director, it all but makes sense to go to the guy who offensively can at least get you going again. But God, do I hope they lose every single game. Hope every single game just because of Bobby. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. But it's one of those things. Let's talk about the LSU Tigers real quick before we get out of here, as well as Coach Lane Kiffin pulled off The win did not get the over. He did not get the over like he thought. And there were actually a couple thoughts that came in post what we talked about on Friday, because I know I let you guys know the basic story that's going on here between his daughter, Whit Weeks, and him. And I don't know, because there are a lot of people now running with this, Spark, that are saying that essentially kind of what I was joking about on Friday, that he may have planted his daughter in there just to get Whit off his game. Because Whit puking in the first drive of defense. Ooh, homeboy was out partying last night. That's the first thing I said. I saw that, and the camera was right on him too. Like, it was looking right at Whit while it happened. And like I keep hearing people say, and it's a very valid point, it's not like he was running downs or anything like that. It's not like he was like halfway through the game and he was exhausted. This was at the beginning of the game, which tells me Lane's daughter might have kept him out a little too late last night. Somebody had a little too many pops last night, and it cost you the game. 24 points is all they need to score to beat the LSU Tigers. I know you're an LSU fan and a supporter. What were your thoughts with this game, though, overall?
It was ugly, and I'm not sold on. I'm not even going to try to say his last name, but I'm not sold on the quarterback. And they look like they just had to plan for him. I mean, they played
Russmeyer, right?
Nossmeyer or something like that. I don't care for the kid. I'm going to roll with LSU no matter what. And to really piggyback on what you were saying with the other coach, it's the same reason I don't like Alabama. It has nothing to do with the players. There's so many that played for the Dolphins and still play for the Dolphins. I just can't stand Saban and his stench when it says Alabama. But going back to the LSU game, I got to watch most of it. It just looked like they were forced, and they had no. They almost looked like they were just off track before the game even started.
The chemistry just wasn't there that we're used to seeing in a Brian Kelly offense.
And they tried. There was 2 plays that I saw. The one long one that was short that ended up being a pass interference. If he would have hit that guy in Strand, that would have been a touchdown all the way. But I just think they were off the whole game. They were forced to run with 8 in the box, and they were just screwed after. I think they just didn't have a game plan.
Maybe they did in Kelly's defense, but I'm gonna go out and say if Whit Weeks is gonna be puking on the field, most likely, again, not any proof of this, but I'm gonna go out there and assume that homeboy had a little too much.
He's probably talking a little bit too much too.
Probably. And
so
gave
laughing.
Lane the perfect opportunity to beat him. But here's the thing. You ever see one football player ever go out by himself? No, they do not.
The whole crew was probably out with him.
The posse, baby.
But the offense, definitely, if they want a better season there, that offense has got to play better.
Absolutely. And I mean, don't hear from us. Hear from Brian Kelly, the head coach of the LSU Tigers, as he highlighted that in the post-game press conference, that the offense has to do better.
Offense has got to play better, and then we have to be more consistent on defense. I mean, we there's not one guy that you will put out Koki and go, well, that was the reason why we lost. There's many players that have to play their best when their best is needed. We weren't very good on third down, right? We've been a really good third down team. We have to be better on third down, and that's not just Garrett. That's we got to get open. Our coaches got to get our guys in a position where they can make some plays. And look, you saw it. We struggled with completing a deep ball, where they did very, very well completing the deep ball. This is not a Garrett Nussmeyer problem. This is an entire football team of guys doing their job at a higher level.
It's easy to blame Nussmeyer because he's the quarterback. And not only the quarterback, but he's the second-year guy coming back when he really should have went to the pros last year, realistically, because that would have been his best shot at actually getting a starting job. Because not throwing any shade on Nussmeyer at all, but when you look at the talent at the quarterback position that's going to be coming out in next year's draft, potentially Arch Manning, you got the kid Aguilar out in Tennessee who looks like he could be the number 1 pick out of nowhere. No one saw that guy coming. I mean, there's a lot of great quarterbacks that are really developing in college right now and are moving forward. And this was not a good sign for Garrett, who is playing for an NFL job right now. If you're LSU and you're Garrett Nussmeier, you need to win every single game and you need to win it handily. Not just because you're in the SEC, but because you need to make an impact on these professional scouts who are coming to watch you play. And games like this against Ole Miss, where you just flounder, it's not going to help you. But on the opposite side of the track, Ole Miss and the Rebels and Lane Kiffin beating up on these SEC teams, it's working out. It's working out great for them. And to be honest with you, I think Lane Kiffin is starting to reach those heights again of the head coaching caliber he was before those really rough years at USC. Everybody forgets how coveted he was when USC pulled him in those years and how much they believed that Lane Kiffin was going to be the guy to take USC back to the national championship. Didn't work out. His coaching style, I guess, just didn't mesh well with the Trojans. There's a lot of injuries during practices because of just how rough and tough he is during practice. But he himself has even come out and said that this is paying dividends. And looking forward, this could be honestly the thing that edges the LSU Tigers out of the playoffs and the Rebels in because of this game right here. And if that's the case, Brian Kelly, I said at the beginning of the year, your job might be in jeopardy, my guy. Because at this point, with the college football playoffs being a thing, a lot of people, a lot of teams have that in their head where they have to be there. And if you are not there, we're moving. I mean, we talk about how the game in college is moving more towards a pro mindset. It's no longer get to a bowl game and win that bowl game. It is now get to the playoffs. And if you can't get to the playoffs, they're going to cut you loose. So we'll see what we will see when it comes to the LSU Tigers, if they're able to bounce back. Let's take a break, pay some bills real quick. When we come back, I'm going to tell you guys why USC has a guy. They have a dude. His name is Malachi Lemon. And oh my God, did this guy almost, as a wide receiver, beat the Illini by himself. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the early bird special right here on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video every weekday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just look for the early bird special. Real quickly, we got about 2-3 minutes before we get to our break and get to the second hour. We'll run down everything professional for you. It was a great Sunday in terms of NFL football, as well as baseball having one of its most exciting endings in years yesterday in game 162. Plus, the U.S. team unfortunately falls in the Ryder Cup, but they did it in a pretty convincing fashion. I'll let you know what happened after the break. But let's finish off these games here in the NCAA. One thing I got to highlight was one of the funniest moments of the weekend was Pitt and them not letting the ball boy get the ball back after that pick six, tossing it around each other. And that ball boy was furious trying to get that ball back. I just thought that was hilarious. Got to talk about that for real quick. But one thing that I have to highlight outside of Oregon's massive win over Penn State over the weekend, the first time that Penn State's lost at a whiteout game in I think 7 games, so 7-8 years, is a pretty impressive fashion. But one thing that I've noticed that a lot of these guys are talking about is the slow substitutions. And I noticed it a little bit during the USC game, which, by the way, USC fans, Malachi Lemon, he ain't no lemon. That boy is a lime. That boy is going nowhere. That guy is otherworldly. He damn near won that game for the USC Trojans by himself. And that's not saying Jay Mayava had a bad game. It's more saying this guy's prolific, and you're going to hear his name in the pros. I can promise you that right now. But from what I did notice was there are a lot of slow subs. I know the pros had it happen once or twice, and people weren't very happy about it because the NFL referees and the NCAA referees have to stop play, even with the game clock going, to allow these guys to get off the field. And people are just like a hockey lineup. I mean, like, we're talking about like 2-3 guys, and this isn't like the 12th man coming off the field. This is a good amount of people not subbing on time. Do we have a problem in football? I don't know. Did you see this at all, Spark?
I did, and I've seen it with the NFL.
Do you think this needs to be changed? Because personally,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be a delay game.
Absolutely. Or, I mean, you got to at least give the offense time to get back on the ball, because that's what's happening, is that these defenses are essentially waiting out the play clock.
I've heard the announcers even say it should be a personal foul.
It should be.
It's like,
because you're doing that on purpose. You genuinely are. And honestly, it's probably the quickest way to get people to stop doing is making a personal foul. I mean, an automatic first down. You don't think defenses will get their guys off the field quick? This is the early bird special. We'll be right back after this break. Talk all things NFL, MLB, and the Ryder Cup. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, as well as streaming video every single weekday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch from 7 to 9. You can go back on our YouTube channel as well, watch old episodes and interviews. We'll have them up for you every single day. I'm trying to work on the reels too. We're working on it, I promise. For those of you who are TikTok and Instagram users and prefer it that way, we will have new ones releasing this week. But we got to talk about an amazing weekend in professional sports as well. We used the entire first hour to talk about college ball because, my God, was it an amazing college game. And I didn't even get to the Oregon Penn State stuff. I really didn't. We'll get to that probably tomorrow or whenever we can get to it. But there's way too much to talk about that we cannot ignore. Starting with the NFL and this Dublin game. The Minnesota Vikings got mollywopped for 3.5 quarters just for the Pittsburgh Steelers to almost give it away to Carson Wentz. Thank God you were playing Carson Wentz. And I don't even know if I should apologize or shouldn't apologize for this because Carson didn't exactly have a bad game. But for those of you who are listening to our waiver wire picks and picked up Carson because I told you to.
I did.
How many points did he get you?
27, 25.
It's not terrible.
He got more than Jackson Dart would have.
Yeah, true. Very true. And Jackson won. But, I mean, watching that call it a final series, the final play of the game, because drops back 3 steps, throws to his wideout, and bam, picked off. But that's Carson Wentz football. I mean, you heard Pat McAfee talk about it. Carson Wentz has his moments of looking like an MVP stud and then moments of looking like a backup quarterback. So it's kind of what put him in the backup seat right now. Regardless, the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to pull it off. 24-21 was the final, I believe. And the biggest gripe for coming out of this game, it's the same thing we were kind of worried about, Sparky. It's the only thing I hear about. The field. The field wasn't good. The field wasn't up to standard, to some people's standards. And again, don't listen to me. Listen to Justin Jefferson, star wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, who said the exact same thing.
Yeah, it was a little slippery out there, but it's not really something that we would put blame on or criticize. At the end of the day, we just still got to go out there. I mean, we knew we were aware of the surface, and it just was a little tricky sometimes, just trying to put your foot in the ground and grass coming up. I feel like all in all, we still got to be able to run our routes and still one good on a good bit on our route. So it's not really something that we really put focus on, for real.
You could tell.
Just
watching the game, seeing the slipping and people falling, missed tackling.
Yep. And honestly, as much as Justin doesn't want to make that a talking point, you bringing it up in general makes it a talking point because that means it's in your head. And everybody's sitting here wondering, well, if you're talking about it right now, clearly you were talking about it during the game. And I'm not going to say that's the reason they lost. And that's what Justin's trying to say too. That's not the reason they lost. The reason they lost was the turnovers. It was the bad plays, the terrible throwing balls by Carson Wentz at times.
I mean, I heard it from both teams.
Yeah.
Not only just the field, but like you were talking about last week, Aaron Rodgers was talking about, dude, we should have been here a week before and we could have prepared for this field.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, but throwing us in here, 24, 48 hours before the game then adjusting to it.
Yeah.
He said it was just crap.
No, it doesn't help anybody. It really doesn't make it an easy game for these guys to play. And beyond that, we even get our stories coming out right before the game that apparently Skylar Thompson, the backup quarterback for the Steelers, was jumped and mugged before the game.
Yeah.
So again, there's the other half of the coin that we've talked about a million times over. These guys don't want us here. Like, as much as you pack out that stadium and make it look like we got NFL fans in Dublin, which I know we got a handful, don't get me wrong, I know we got a good amount. There are still a ton of people in these countries that are going to prey on your athletes because they know who they are. And I'm going to tell you right now, if a backup quarterback got jumped and mugged, you're lucky it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. Imagine that, dude. Like, the story that we be talking right now, if Aaron Rodgers before the game in Dublin got jumped and mugged and was not able to play. Do you realize how bad that would look for the NFL? I know we're joking and laughing about it, but we've talked about it. We talked about it when it comes to Brazil. We've talked about it when it comes to Germany. Like, London's probably the only spot that's kind of embraced it, but that's because we've been doing it for almost, a decade?
Yeah. And the Vikings get to stay overseas and because they're playing in London next weekend.
Right.
And that's why I think Aaron Rodgers complaining about not being able to be there. He said, but then the following week, you're going to let the Vikings get there early.
Doesn't make sense.
Where's the middle ground?
Does not make sense. And honestly, Aaron's right when it comes to you need to allow us to come down here just to see the field at least. At least let us know what kind of cleats we need to run. You know what I mean? Like, because it's a huge difference between cleats that you use on turf and cleats you use on grass. There's a huge difference. And not even just the jet lag and all of that type of stuff you have to battle too, but this is just, it seems to be an issue every single time the NFL goes overseas. Let's be honest. Every time we go overseas, unless it's London, because I haven't heard this issue from London lately, but when the first couple years when they did it, absolutely. London's field was it was thrown in the dirt, said it was awful. They did a terrible job at keeping up on it. And then the next couple years they got it down, they figured it out. But I don't know, like, this is just continuously being an issue in the NFL.
And I'm even seeing it here in the US with teams that, certain stadiums that have turf against, grass. And, even with Malik Neighbors' injury, I heard Ocho Cinco saying, we have to do something about our fields.
But what do you do? Do you just say everybody has to use a specific
That's what my question
blade of
is.
grass?
Do you think they all need to be
turf? Like, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you exactly which one these guys prefer to play on, because every time I hear turf, they say, ooh, that stuff sucks because it hurts and it, like, you land on it. It's really painful. But then you hear them talk about playing on grass and they're like, well, we slip all the time. My cleats get caught and blah, blah, blah.
I think being on grass would be ideal.
I think so too.
With every stadium. So there isn't a change. There's certain stadiums that they've complained that, they play in turf. They get to play in turf every year or all year.
Right.
I think it may be just to shut them up and make it a level ground. Maybe you just all play on grass.
I think you're right on that one, because that's the first thing that popped in my head when I saw the story yesterday of Justin highlighting the field. Although, again, like we heard in the audio, he's not necessarily using that as an example of why they lost. But still, for a top tier NFL wide receiver to come out and say, yeah, it wasn't exactly what we were hoping for, that's still a reason.
Well, it started a conversation I heard this morning on Unsportsmanlike where Evan was like, if you start making it all where everything has to be the same, then we're going to get here in 10, 15 years where everyone is playing in a dome.
Right.
And the weather won't matter.
Yeah.
Whether it's,
then you're going to have teams in the NFC North and everybody else.
Or teams in Buffalo in December, it won't matter.
Yeah.
It'll all
and
be
they're
closed.
all going to be pissed because they don't get the weather and the home field advantage they used to. And you're right, because, I mean, you take away those snow games too. It takes away part of football. I mean, that's anytime someone sees a snow game or a rain game, we immediately say, ooh, football weather. Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, you can't take that away. You can't make that.
It's the home field advantage. It's the whole reason.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, I really don't know what you do, if there's even anything the NFL can do in this way. But I think at the very least, if we're going to be going overseas, one, you need to let the guys go early. Or at least like the Monday after their game, everybody gets on the plane and goes. And two, I think the NFL specifically needs to be there to check every facet of the field. And if it is not up to code weeks before the game, not the week of the game, but weeks before the game, if that is not up to par, do not play there. Pull the game, put it into whichever one that would have been a home game and say, no, you guys are staying home. We're going to figure this out for next year. Because if this continues to happen every single time we go to a foreign country and people are complaining about the field conditions and how security and safety of their players, this is all going to be a wash.
And that should be the number one thing.
It really should.
The security. And everything I heard with the Skylar Thompson thing, it was all brushed under the table, and
Yes,
it was
it
like,
is.
let's not talk about that.
No, you know what's funny? It was so brushed under the table. The story was released at like 5 a.m. because the game started at 6,
And it was
and
gone.
nobody talked about it on any pregame shows. Why? Because they don't want the NFL, or they don't want these fans to see that. They don't want the fans to see what we've talked about a couple times on this show, that these people are going to prey upon your athletes. They are going to do this. There's going to be more instances where these guys get jumped and mugged or robbed or, God forbid, killed. And again, not saying that anybody in Ireland or Dublin wants to go out and kill an American. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there are certain countries with certain people who do not like Americans at all. And if you want to make this thing a global phenomenon like the NFL wants to do, or has been saying they want to do, you have to increase security. You have to increase stuff for player safety. And if you think people didn't see the Skylar Thompson story, you're crazy, because there's a lot of people they're going to be talking about today, or at least they should be. And if they don't, I'll harp on it all week. I do not care. Because
we're seeing a lot of, whether it's a sport or entertainment or anything, wrestling, they're all testing, the markets out there, and there's plenty of money to be made. I was just talking to a comedian over the weekend, as they've got 45 of the top comedians in the world out in Saudi Arabia right now for a comedy fest that's 2 weeks long.
Glad you brought up Saudi Arabia, because guess who just bought EA Sports this morning?
I saw that.
So all of your Madden games, all of your EA or NBA Live, all of your NHL Live, all run by Saudi Arabian companies now. Sports are getting taken over by the Saudi Arabian government, dude. Genuinely. When I saw that this morning, I said, we're in trouble.
Do you think we are? Or do you think it's just
when you take
Monopoly man over there just buying it?
Conspiracy theory, throw the tinfoil hat on my head. But when you allow countries, not people, not businesses, businesses are a part of this as well, don't get me wrong. But when you allow other countries to dictate your organizations, we've seen it with the WWE. It's undeniable.
Oh, yeah.
It is undeniable at this point. Imagine what they're going to do if they get their hands in the NFL. Imagine what they're going to do if they get their hands in the NBA. Your NBA finals are going to take place in Saudi Arabia. When does the buck stop? I know these guys got the money. I know that it's easy because, when you partner up with these guys, they have the money to be able to front it. But the influence is damning. Again, I don't mean to compare it to the WWE, but it's just, look what's happening there.
And we just saw it with the Canelo fight.
Exactly. That's a great example. The Canelo fight. Come on. I get that sports is a worldwide thing. I'm not saying we cut out Saudi Arabia out of this whatsoever. So do not take my words as that. But I am saying, we're really going to let them buy into everything? Everything. That's like China coming in and buying into everything we own too. Come on, guys. Eventually, you as an American businessman got to put forward your money too.
I shouldn't have watched Mr. Robot.
Again, I'm in the same boat. Throw the conspiracy theory hat on me if you want to. And again, nothing really outside of the WWE and boxing has really shown that Saudi Arabia has that much of an impact on sports. But combat sports in general, UFC, boxing, wrestling, all are in this bag. And now EA Sports is getting bought up.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Yes, we are. And if you don't think that they're going to be coming knocking on the door of all these sports organizations that are struggling right now and need help boosting up a little bit of finances, what if the WNBA, and again, conspiracy or just, hypothetical, WNBA struggling right now money-wise. First thing that these guys would do to, lift the spirits of the players is do what? Pay them. How do you pay them? Without the money. Who's got the money? Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia calls the NBA, says, hey, we noticed that you're having a little bit of an issue with your side business there with the WNBA.
You need a little partnership?
We can help you out. Throw you a couple million, give these girls a little bit something. put the teams up on the pedestal a little bit. You don't think the NBA would jump on that chance? It is in the air, people. It's here. And again, not trying to attack Saudi Arabian people at all, but history has shown us when you allow so many people to put their hands in the cookie jar, the cookies are gone after a while.
I will say on the positive side, though, at least they're fans, because at least we're getting some big events, and we'll see how this plays out. But we'll take a break. We'll get into the other 12, 13 games from yesterday and the weird, strange ending to Sunday Night Football. We'll get into that and much more right here on the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 3 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video every single weekday on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. We got plenty to talk about left in the world of the NFL. Handful of major games that you probably didn't miss, but we got to talk about anyway. Los Angeles Chargers, start with them, losing their first game of the season to the New York Giants in a game that nobody thought would go that way. But Jackson Dart getting his first win as a professional. And to be honest with you, he's in high spirits, even though his team statistically got beaten almost every single category. Here's Jackson Dart.
It's just a football game. I think that's just the best way to describe it. Obviously this experience was a special one, being my first one. And I'm just grateful to have the guys around me that I had. I obviously want to give a big shout out to Russ. I know that this week probably wasn't the easiest thing, but he handled it like a professional and just was a mentor for me. So, obviously just have a ton of respect for him.
I got to run down these stats for you real quick, just because I'm dumbfounded with what I'm looking at here. And I know why they lost. I'm not asking anybody to text in to tell us why they lost. Although feel free to text in at any point in time, 661-842-2000. We will read them at the end of the show. But I'm going to run down the stat line for you. I know you're already looking at it right now, Sparky, but tell me where you find the lie here. We had a quarterback go 23 for 41 with 203 yards and a touchdown. The other quarterback went 13 for 20 with 111 yards and a touchdown. We have one running back who had 12 carries for 128 yards and a major touchdown, and another rookie running back that went 25 carries for 79 yards. We had a wide receiver get 8 catches for almost 100 yards and a touchdown, and then we had another wide receiver lead his team with 3 catches and 44 yards. We had a defensive player have 4 sacks in a single game, while the opposite team barely had a guy who had 1. We had a guy who had 13 tackles in a game. Highest on the other side was 6. How do you lose? I get it. Justin threw 2 picks. I understand. And I'm going to tell you right now, for those of you who've been watching for the last couple weeks, your boy feels real damn good about this bet now. I'm just going to throw this out. Dak Prescott leading the league in passing yards right now.
He had a game.
He had a game. He's had multiple games.
Not like this.
I'm just saying.
I was not expecting one. I picked up in my dynasty league where you're forced to get as many quarterbacks as you can.
Naturally.
And with the rookie quarterbacks, you could get them on a rookie deal and shelve them. So I was happy when I picked up Dart because I knew he was going to play sometime
Eventually.
And I really liked what Coach DeBall had said. He said, why would we wait? And he said, when I was talking to Dart, all the media saying, oh, you should, bench him for another week and let him start against the Saints. He said, no, man, these are competitors. Mm-hmm. They don't want to, they don't want to be shortchanged thinking, oh, we wanted to start you, but we're playing the Chargers. I appreciated that. And I do like how the defense and the team stood behind Jackson Dart for his first start, man. I was impressed for what I saw. Obviously, it wasn't, crazy, flashy stats, but, he ran in a touchdown. He threw another touchdown. And when it mattered, he looked like he deserved to be there.
Yeah, he made the plays. And honestly, I like what you said as well, especially about Dable, because say you do tell Jackson, hey, we're going to wait a week because this is the Chargers. They're undefeated right now. What kind of confidence does that really tell your quarterback? It's like, oh yeah, you're good enough to beat the Saints, but you're not good enough to beat this team, so we don't want to throw you out there yet.
Yeah, it's that's not a way to coach a player.
Not at all. So I have to agree with you. I like Dable's entire idea with this, their entire mentality of why wait, because the more we wait, the less we're going to win games. They're now 1-3, obviously losing the first 3. Took down one of the teams that everybody was shocked about. We'll see how both of these teams rebound here in week 5. Will the Chargers be able to get back to where they used to be? Or will they take this as a stall out, as we've seen in the NFL so many times? There are now only 2 undefeated teams left in the NBA, or in the NFL, excuse me. That is the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles.
And the Bills are made me nervous. I hate the Bills, but I took the Bills in my Survivor League, and they looked like they were going to lose that game.
At one point, yes, but they ended up pulling away in the fourth quarter. The team that really shouldn't be undefeated, though, is the Philadelphia Eagles. How do you win a game? Well, no, hear me out on this. How do you win a game in the NFL without completing a single pass in the second half? And your run game, I'm not talking about a Tim Tebow-led team where the run game was everything. I'm talking about a team that literally on offense couldn't do jack S at all in the second half and still won this game. This also is an indictment on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I said this last week. Adam Schefter and everybody saying, oh, Tampa Bay, that's the team. They're loaded. They're the team. No, they're not. They're not that good. You give Baker Mayfield time at the end of that game, may have been different. But here's the thing.
Yeah, he forced that last one.
Nick Sirianni is probably the first coach I've ever seen actually run the clock correctly. I've been saying it for years, why they don't, especially if you're up by like 5-7 and you have 10 seconds left.
Run in the back of
the end zone.
Yeah.
Get a safety. Play Madden. I've seen so many kids on Madden do this. And as stupid as some people think it is, it's not. It's actually genius.
It's like what we used to do on Tecmo Bowl.
Exactly.
Just run the kickoff back and forth and run out
Waste
that 15 seconds.
Clock. But again, I still cannot find out how Philadelphia continues to win. It is just otherworldly how they're able to put it together. But I have never, at least in my recent memory, if anybody wants to chime in and call me stupid and say it happened this year, feel free. Text in 661-842-2000. But can anybody remember a single time where there was an NFL team that won a game without completing a single pass in the second half? 0 for 8 from Jalen Hurts. And they still won. That is some level of word I can't use right now that it dumbfounds me. It really does. But somehow Philadelphia is still undefeated. That levee's going to break eventually. I'm just going to say it. But let's talk about the other team whose levee broke over the weekend. That's the Indianapolis Colts, who honestly looked like they were going to win this game against the LA Rams. They really did. And there is one man right now in Indianapolis, one man that I wouldn't be showing my face around anybody in Indy for the entire week.
Jackass.
Look, man. Adonai Mitchell, 3 catches, 96 yards, what should have been a touchdown. How many times have we seen dummies celebrate before they score? And I don't want to hear the excuse of, oh, he was just trying to get over the goal line faster. For what purpose? What purpose? You're 3 yards away, kid. No one's even close to you. You just broke one of the craziest catches we've seen of the year. And you fumble on the 1 yard line. And then, besides the fact, let's wipe that away. Let's wipe that away. Okay, wipe that all away, the 75-yard catch. On top of that, there was a 50-plus yard touchdown for Jonathan Taylor at the end of this game that would have iced it for them, would have won them the game. But he got called back by a holding call. And guess who's the one that was holding? Not even play side. Mitchell is the sole reason the Colts are not undefeated right now. I know there's probably people saying, oh, you can't blame that on. Yes, you can. Today we can. And I'm not even a Colts fan. But if there are Colts fans in Indy or anybody listening to my voice right now, you're probably feeling the exact same way. Never throw that boy the ball again. Because, my God, did you just ruin our undefeated season? Which, again, they weren't going to go undefeated at all. But, yeah, put him in timeout, 110%. But I don't know. Did you watch any of this? Because I did.
I had the red zone flying on down the grapevine. I was like, what the did he just do?
And you know what's funny? When he did it, and they called it a touchdown at first, I said, no, he fumbled.
Yeah.
He dropped that ball early. And then, of course, right afterwards, because I originally saw it on red zone like you did, and then switched over because I was like, I need to see how this goes. I need to see how this actually gets put it down. And they immediately said, nope, fumbled out of the back of the end zone. That's a touchback. Rams get the ball in the 20, going the other way. I said, oh my God. It's like, this is the Colts team we were expecting to see, though. Like, coming into the season, let's all be honest, this was the Colts team that people kind of thought were coming. The dumb mistakes, the shortcomings, the losing of almost every game. Daniel Jones throwing 2 picks for the first time this year. We finally saw the Colts we thought we were going to see 4 weeks into the season, but it is what it is. The levee broke. And now we're all going to be sitting here wondering, just like the Chargers, was it a fluke or is it for real?
And with the Chiefs winning, Now they're right back on you. Last
Mhm.
week, all the Charger fans were hitting me up. Oh, this is the real deal. We're boop.
I
I'm like, it
low-key
only
was
takes-
kind of hoping we were going to have Tyson this morning just to
It
talk to
only,
him about
it
that
only
alone.
takes one loss, man.
It does.
To just bring you back to reality. But we'll take a break. We'll run down a few more of these games. We'll get into some baseball, and we'll get you text. If you want to text in before the end of the show, text in 661-842-2000. We are the early bird special on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM. Welcome back. This is going to be for special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming live video every single weekday from 7 to 9. You can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Just look for the early bird special. Find our little logo there. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. You'll be
And-
notified every single time we go live.
Bad Bunny.
Yes, Bad Bunny was announced to be the Super Bowl halftime show, breaking every Swifties heart on the planet. Thank you, God. I'm
you see
actually okay
why?
with this.
Did
Huh?
you see why they tried to get Taylor?
Oh, I know. They tried to get Taylor. They tried to get
Well,
somebody else,
she
too.
wanted, she was gonna do it, but she wanted rights to everything. And they're
yeah.
like, no, it's not a paid gig, bro. Sorry.
No, actually, yeah. For those of you who don't know how this goes, traditionally, the halftime show, you actually have to pay the NFL to do the halftime
And
show.
she wanted advertising. She wanted
Yeah.
all this. And
And
like,
honestly,
nope, sorry.
Well, let's at least see it from her point of view here a little bit. With her
course.
career, with everything with Scooter and everything, like, yeah, I would.
She already mentioned, yeah, she knows her right.
Yep.
and she wasn't just going to give it to you.
No.
Because the NFL, we would have never saw the end of that.
And honestly, I think every football fan here is happy.
Yes.
I think not, again, no shade towards Taylor. I'm sure she is a fantastic individual, fantastic human being. But we don't need to see Taylor at the halftime show. I don't think there's any NFL fan that was really hoping for Taylor to be the halftime performance. Maybe your girlfriend was, so she had a reason. Well, I'm sorry. I know you have a soft spot for her, Sparky.
I would have loved to see
But
Swiftie.
there was somebody else that was on that list too. Adele. That's the other one I heard was Adele. And I was like, no. Like, I love Adele. I do. She's a fantastic singer. But go to a concert. That's not the halftime show of a football game.
I don't think that would have kept people watching.
And you know what's funny? Ever since I went to the Raider game in week 2, I've been hearing this over and over, but Little John apparently is making the rounds in the NFL at halftimes because he is doing everybody's halftime show. I mean, I know he did the Raiders 2 weeks ago. I know somebody was talking about him doing it this week for them. I can't remember what game it was. I was just kind of in the background, but I was just shocked every time I hear it every week. Oh yeah, Little John was the halftime show. I was like, is he doing every NFL stadium? Like, is this just what Little John? It's what Little John does now, apparently, to make his money is do NFL halftime shows.
Well, and you only got 2 or 3 big hits.
But again, are they really even his?
They were. I mean,
not really.
We can go say the same thing about a lot of these hip hop artists.
I agree with you. But
I was like, oh, I remember that sample. My son's like, oh, that's their song. I'm like, dude, let me give you some.
Yeah, let's go down the line here of where the sample actually came from. But no, Little John I've always laughed at because it's like, I love Little John, grew up with Little John, obviously, but has he ever actually had a single of his own? Has he ever had a song where it's like, oh yeah, that's that Little John track, hit that? It's like, no, usually you hear, the songs that he's just the hype man for, he's a feature in. So it's always just, I scratch my head and say, that's kind of you're weird. The only one that pops up in my head is Get Out of Your Mind. And I'm pretty sure that was LMFAO. I don't even think that's his song.
Well, going back to the Sunday games, out of these 3 games, which one was more of a surprise? One is the Chiefs, Mahomes throwing 4 touchdowns and beating Baltimore.
Not really surprising. The Chiefs own the Ravens every single time they play. What was the most surprising was the Ravens pulling Lamar in the 3rd quarter, claiming he has a hamstring injury. I think that was more based on his confidence throughout the game because you saw it from
he was
snap 1
up. Yeah,
he just wasn't there. And I don't know if we talked about this last week when it comes to Derrick Henry, when you get in your own head when it comes to fumbles, but Lamar fumbled a couple times early and you can see him getting frustrated. And I think at this point, Harbaugh has to sit everybody down and say, we need to calm down, boys, and figure this out. Like, fumbles happen in football. So I wouldn't say that one was that surprising.
The Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence throwing 300 yards and a couple touchdowns. Still don't think he was the reason they won games.
No,
because that defense looked mean, man.
No. Travis Etienne as well just showed everybody why Jacksonville did not trade him away instead. And to be completely honest with you, I think they got a guy there. I have faith in Trevor, but I agree with you. Trevor wasn't the reason they won that game. And to be honest, the story's not even the game itself. It's what happened afterwards. Saleh and Liam getting into it. Please, Robert, please drop this boy.
I guess it's
drop the Duval. I'm like, no. Because, okay, so those of you who don't know, there has been some words exchanged between head coach Liam Cohen of the Jacksonville Jaguars and now defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, Robert Saleh, former head coach of the Jets. Saleh is claiming that Cohen steals signs in football. And to be honest with you, wouldn't be surprised. Would not throwing that like as if there's shade on Cohen, but more of just like, okay, it's sports. Who doesn't try to steal signs at this point? If you got signs that are out there for everybody to see, I'm going to have somebody there reading them and saying, okay,
let's figure this one out.
Maybe this, and you may not be right, but at least you're trying. That's part of the strategy, in my opinion. That's why I never really gave a dang when Michigan got in trouble for this with Jim Harbaugh, and they had a whole guy, literally, that's his job, was to figure out your signs. I think that's part of strategy. I genuinely do. And if you're not smart enough as a coach on the other end to switch up your signs every couple weeks to keep people on their toes, sorry, don't know exactly what to do with you there. That was more the surprise to me, was the altercation between them afterwards and Cohen yelling at Saleh, telling him to keep his name out of his mouth, even though the two of them never even like crossed paths. Like Saleh was, congratulating a lot of the guys from Jacksonville, saying, "Hey, great game, man."
Yeah,
And
he
then
was
all you
walking
see
with
is
him.
Cohen going the other way. Keep my name out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Keep my name.
Natural
And he had to
hurt.
be separated by his own lineman. I mean, Saleh's just sitting there like,
What?
the hell's your
Yeah.
problem?
Get out of here.
Like,
Well, that's why I heard Shanahan talking after the game. He was like, dude, that was a compliment. We weren't saying that you were actually
Yes.
stealing signs.
it's like, dude, and that's what I would expect from Shanahan, because Shanahan, I would expect him to see that as strategy as well.
Yeah.
I mean, again, no
He would
one's
jump
throwing
on it if he
shade.
could too.
If this was a problem, Liam Cohen, we would have seen it on ESPN. There would have been a story about it. You
Yeah,
would
the
have
league
been,
would be investigating.
yeah, they'd be investigating you, but it's not. It's not a problem. So him getting all uppity and butthurt over Robert Saleh saying he steals signs, dude, that just shows me again, why this guy's not a head coach in the NFL. Because on top of the Duval crap, which again that's the lamest thing I've ever seen. But everything I'm seeing from Liam Cohen shows me, one, you don't have the mental fortitude to do this, but you also just don't have the emotional fortitude to do this. You cannot do that. You cannot get into it with somebody's defensive coordinator after a game. You can't. You're a professional.
Or not.
It's so dumb.
Well, the other one was the we are the home for the Raiders, and I thought they were going to pull this one out,
This
even
was
though
such
Gino,
a
man,
fun game to watch.
Gino has got to stop with the turnovers. But either way, we got to see the Genty of what we were expecting. Genty looked good.
Do you think it was because of the stance change? Everybody's sitting there saying that it's because they allowed him to kind of stand up like he used to do at Boise.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the case.
No, I just think he's. I mean, this is his fourth game in the
Yeah.
league, and we're starting to see these rookies. Even the guy in Cleveland, Judkins, he's looking good, man. And I think Genty looked. Stupid me, I didn't start him this week because I have way too many running backs, and I was thinking, oh, Chicago's defensive line,
and he hasn't exactly given you a reason to start him yet.
And of course, he blew up. But the ending of this game, man, I was driving, and I was like, oh. I had to pull over and like watch the video. I was like, oh, they're going to pull this one off. They're going to pull it off. And of course, another blocked field goal.
And that is one thing I have to highlight too, is that we've seen so many blocked field goals and field goal returns. I mean, we saw a extra point returned last night, which essentially was the points Dallas needed to not only get themselves back into the game, but to tie the game.
The momentum. And you sent me that video of the old Raider coach Gruden
talking about it.
Gruden is so heated, and he blames this on the NFL not allowing these guys to practice with pads. Get the one, not only just the blocked field goals,
but the reps
and the follies in we're seeing with the fumbles and the turnovers, but the injuries.
And again, we've been talking about that for weeks. And again, not that we're NFL coaches or anything, but it's
clear to see
logic.
Yeah. And Schefter did just announce that Malik Neighbors is out for the season.
Which sucks for the Giants.
So ugly, man.
And well, again, I don't know if ACL and MCL tears and all that type of stuff can really be brought to, you didn't practice enough in pads, but some of like major, like big hit injuries, you could definitely say you could have withstood that if you had a couple two-a-days. And I don't know, just watching that game, one was a very exciting game from the Raiders. I think we saw some things that Jason Horowitz highlighted that they needed to fix. The offensive line looked solid. Like I asked him, are we ever going to see Ashton Genty finally running in open space and not getting hit by somebody? You saw that plenty on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
The only reason they lost is Gino. And again, maybe it's the fumble thing. Like we said about Lamar and Derek, maybe interceptions are the same way, and he's just in his own head about this. But he himself even said in the postgame presser, I'm not the guy that I need to be, that everybody brought me in here to be. So hopefully he's able to figure this out and turn it around. But I can honestly say from watching his time in Seattle and his time with the Jets,
that's what he does.
It's what he does. He has a tendency to make a mistake every so often, like some of these quarterbacks do. And unfortunately, one too many is exactly what leads to a loss.
Well, they try to do too much.
Exactly.
It was like how Baker ended that game.
And again, maybe that's because in his head, he's thinking his offensive line isn't the most structured or safe to be behind. So he has to make plays like that. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, watching him in week 2 going against the Chargers, he had to run around a lot. He had to make those magical plays, and he did. But you can't rely on Geno to make those plays like you can rely on Patrick to make those plays. It's just not in Geno's game. So for the Raiders, I think it's just a step forward, although an ugly step forward, but it is a step forward.
It's a loss.
But some of these you got to kind of take your lickings. You know what I mean? And again, Ben Johnson doubling his amount of wins now as a head coach, taking down the Raiders. But the Chicago Bears also don't look the best.
No.
And I'm going to double down on what I said with Jason. DJ Moore ain't the guy no more. It's Rome Odunze. You could sit there and say Rome is a Vegas boy, so they were targeting him more. No,
they've been targeting him.
It's Rome Odunze's team at the wide receiver position now. I get that DJ had 90 catches last year and was the guy for him last season. But I don't know what happened during the offseason for Caleb to say, you know what, I'm going to throw over to this side more. And it's working for him.
And then keeping it in the AFC West. The one thing I am super worried about for the Chargers is that offensive line. And they're getting
banged up,
hit by injuries. I don't know if Alt came back, but he looked rough in the post game. He said, dude, I just don't know. And he's going to try to fight through it. But if he has to lose time, they've already lost 2 starters on that offensive line.
Both tackles.
Yeah.
At that.
And that's the position.
And didn't they lose their center too? Or somebody like that?
Camp.
They lost a lot of pieces. And to be honest, at this point, that's why I'm worried that this is going to start spiraling for the Chargers, is the health concerns. Because you're right. I mean, losing your big guys like that, Joe Alt, Slater in the preseason, obviously was a massive loss for you. But you need to be able to protect Justin and open holes for Omari and Hampton. Hampton is able to make plays, as we saw on Sunday.
He looked good too.
12 carries, 128 yards, and a touchdown. Fantastic play. But the Chargers in general, I wouldn't get too concerned just yet. But I think week 5 is going to be an indicator of what we see going forward. Because personally, to me, you really don't know what an NFL team is until they take that first loss. When they take that first loss is usually when you find out, was this team for real or were they just riding a high that couldn't be? Like, that's why I feel like with Philadelphia right now. Is Philadelphia really just riding the high of that incredible streak they had last year at the end of the year that got them all the way to the Super Bowl and it's just carried over? And is it going to stall out when they inevitably lose? Because keep playing like this, you're going to lose. You will not go undefeated. But it's really the ability for them to bounce back is if you got a good NFL team or not. I think Atlanta did a fantastic job of that this week. I think a lot of teams have done a fantastic job of that in the past couple weeks, the Rams being one of them. The Chiefs are starting to show themselves like that. And to be honest, that's bad news for the Chargers, but it is what it is going forward.
And we'll see how Denver bounces back because they've got the Bengals tonight as well as the Dolphins and the Jets. But we'll take our final break and wrap up this show and preview those games. And we'll talk a little baseball, or we might have to wait until tomorrow as the baseball playoffs finally start tomorrow. But we'll get into that and much more right here on the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back.
Speaking of the Packers and Cowboys, what do you think about that game last night?
40-40 tie. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. When the extra point got blocked and they ran it back for 2, I genuinely felt, I was like, oh, wow, Dallas woke up. And that's what we saw. I said it on Friday. We got to stop forgetting 2 things. One, that George Pickens was a guy.
Yeah.
We really got to stop pretending that he was never a guy in Pittsburgh. He was a guy with Justin Fields. He was a guy with Russell Wilson. He was a guy with Kenny Pickett. He's a guy. This guy's a guy. He's a wide receiver 1. So whether CeeDee Lamb is out or not, him and Turpin made some incredible plays to give the Cowboys a chance. Unfortunately, ending 40-40, nobody wants to see a tie. And that's kind of
especially that game.
I think that game should have went to double OT. I genuinely believe that. I think that the NFL needs to adopt the playoff rules all year round when it comes to the OT. Everybody gets a chance to score, but if it's tied at the end of the first, you go to a second and then first score wins. I genuinely believe that game should not have ended in a tie. I know Jordan wasn't happy about it. You could tell by the post-game press conference. Dak was a little more, at least, in higher spirits, but of course he was. His team had to claw back to win this game, down 13-0 at one point. And honestly, down 13-0, and we're able to take the lead before the half was even over. And this is the question I have to pose to you, my friend, because I'm seeing this more and more and more in the NFL, and it's really starting to become a thing. I think every team you can no longer give the ball back to with a minute left. Every single one of them, unless you're like, I guess maybe unless you're Tennessee or Carolina or some of these that are like iffy teams. But Miami. I've seen it from Tampa Bay. I've seen it from all the best, obviously, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Broncos. I mean, you can go down the line. Every team that's a playoff contender, if you give them the ball back with less than 2 minutes left, even less than a minute left, they're going to get down the field. And I don't know if that's an indictment on NFL defenses or just proof that offense in the NFL has gotten better than anybody expected.
I think the league is set for offenses and quarterbacks like we've talked about. But yeah, I mean, whether it's a stupid penalty or just in my view, from what I've seen, the defenses almost give it to them. And it feels like that soft coverage. But I also think, they're almost playing scared on running those tough blitzes or, making it where they're playing to not lose instead of playing to win.
But see, even doing that, you're playing to lose.
Exactly.
Because you see a lot of these guys, I mean, kickers are getting better and better. I know we had a handful of blocks and whatnot over the weekend.
We also got a 65-yard field goal.
Yep. And we've had a handful of punt returns over the weekend too that went for touchdowns that we should highlight as well. But my thought process is this. Back, let's say 20 years ago, you were really only talking about the top tier quarterbacks, your Peyton Mannings, your Tom Brady's, as the ones that, don't give them the ball back with 2 minutes left. Now it's everybody. It's Dak Prescott. It's Jordan Love. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Bo Nix. It's Michael Penix. It's everybody. You give any quarterback in the NFL the ball back with a minute 30 left and a chance to win the game, they're going to win the game. It's just wild to me. I just can't get behind it. Or I can't get around it more. I can get behind it. Don't get me wrong.
You brought up Fields will be starting for the Jets tonight. It is not Tyrod.
Well,
we'll see.
Hopefully he can bounce back from the injury. We see Justin Fields of old and not.
Hopefully not. Hopefully that Dolphins D show up. I know they're playing with their dark aqua.
I believe in you tonight, Sparky.
We'll see.
I believe in them.
If this is a big game for Miami, not only just because they need the first win.
Yes.
But they can't be going down 0-3 with the division. So that's what we need to see.
I'm going to echo what you said a couple weeks ago, my friend. You guys lose tonight. We may be hearing tomorrow morning McDaniels is fired.
And Greer, hopefully it's the first name that you see. But the second game, you think Cincinnati and Denver? Nothing?
No chance.
It's going to be Denver D?
Denver is going to rout this team. It's not even going to be close.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. I don't believe in Jake Browning. I really don't. And
it's funny is Eisen loves the guy.
I know.
And swears we're going to see.
Rich Eisen's also a Jets fan.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Now, thank you for that, because now I don't have to listen to it on the way back to work.
That's all we got for you guys today. Sorry we could not get to baseball or the Ryder Cup. We will give you all the details on that tomorrow, 7 to 9. I promise we will start with baseball because Wild Card is here, baby. Starting tomorrow, we get some fantastic playoff baseball for you. But until then, We have been the Early Bird Special. Join us back here tomorrow, 7 to 9. Follow us on all social medias, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all over the place. We're also on Twitch. You can watch us every single day, 7 to 9. But until then, we're getting out of the way for the Jets fan. Sparky, let's get out of here.